Hello guys and welcome to another log of Digimon Color, and for today's log it's not a log about a specific Digimon. It is because of this piece of news just dropped. Of course we knew that this is coming since last week. They teased it a few days ago on Mon Memo, and finally we know on the 18th of April that they're going to release more information. And of course we were looking forward to getting information regarding the roster and the color, and there we have it. We have everything. And the information is within this premium Bandai site, which includes a 1 minute 30 second video. And although it's only 1 minute 30 seconds, there's a lot to examine in that video that they showed. And this video is going to break that down for you. But before we begin the deep dive, which includes major spoilers from my deduction and speculation, if you like Digimon and raising virtual pets, then you have come to the right place, because my channel focuses on raising Digimon as virtual pets and documenting them, and I upload at least twice a week. And yes, this specific video is not about raising a specific Digimon, but it is about purchasing more Digimon to raise. So it is still relevant to my channel, and I'm very excited to get into these three versions. So if you really are interested in such content, go ahead and incinerate the like and subscribe button with Chimeramon's Heat Viper, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. Alright, let's get down to today's deep dive. Alright, first up, rosters. For the rosters of version 3, 4 and 5, I think most people were expecting the rosters to be similar to how it was on the version 20th. After all, for Color version 1 and 2, that was the only change that they made. They kept most of the roster for the megas the same, and they just added one more mega to each of the version 1 and 2 that wasn't there in the version 20th, which were mainly Shinmonzaemon for Color version 1 and Ibimon for Color version 2. So that is pretty much what most people were expecting for the change in roster for version 3, 4 and 5. But instead we got quite major revamps. Now let's take a closer look at what were the changes for version 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to start with version 5 first, followed by 4 and then 3, if you don't mind, because there's a lot more to be discussed for version 3 roster. But for version 5, as you can see, the roster largely remains the same in terms of baby, rookie, champion and ultimate Digimon. But when it came to the mega levels, that is where the revamp began. So the mega roster for version 20th, we actually had Mugendramon, also known as Machine Dramon for the Dark fans, and there's also Pinocchimon, also known as Puppetmon for the Dark fans. But as you can see, Puppetmon is no longer on the roster, and instead we have Gaiomon, also known as Samudramon, and also Raidenmon, another mega level. So those two mega levels are in the roster now, and instead we no longer see Pinocchimon, also known as Puppetmon. And moving on to the version 4 roster, as you can see, it's also similarly mostly intact in terms of the rookie, champion and ultimate, but for the mega levels there are major changes. And in fact, for version 4, all of the mega levels were changed. So in the original version 20th, the mega roster actually had Aegis Dramon and Titamon. And as you can see in the version 4 color, we no longer see those two, and instead we have Dark Dramon, Gankumon and Bloom Lordmon. Moving on to version 3, there's a slight twist here. So as expected from version 5 and 4 already, we expect major changes in version 3's mega roster. So in the version 20th roster, the mega level, we had High Andromon as well as King Itemon. So High Andromon is still there, but obviously King Itemon has been removed. Instead of King Itemon, we have now Gokumon and Bancho Leomon. But aside from High Andromon, Gokumon and Bancho Leomon, the three that are mentioned in the picture on the right, we have a silhouette being teased. Okay, but before I move on to the silhouette, I just want to make a side note. Isn't it weird that Bancho Leomon is the mega level on version 3, but there's no Leomon on version 3? Instead, Leomon is actually on version 4. So when they decided to add Bancho Leomon, why didn't they just add Bancho Leomon on version 4 instead? You know, and I don't mean to say that every evolution line must be linear, so I'm all for, multiple different kinds of evolution that goes everywhere. But it's just a little weird that Leomon is just there and Bancho Leomon is in another roster right next to it, but so close yet so far. But anyway, back to the silhouette. And if you haven't really been paying attention, you might think that, oh, maybe the silhouette is just a Jogres Digimon, because that's how they teased Omegamon Ultra S, which was a Jogres on version 1 and version 2 when they were teasing it. But if you look at it, there is a part where they talk about the Jogres Digimon for version 3, 4 and 5, and they have very different silhouettes. On top of that, if you look at the count of the Digimon for version 3, 4 and 5, you will notice that for version 4, they have clearly stated that there are 19 Digimon to be collected, and on the roster that they displayed, there's only 17. So there are no additional silhouettes on version 4, yet they have 2 additional counts, which means that the Jogres Digimon are not within the display. They are totally hidden from view. Similarly for version 5 and similarly for version 3 as well, where they said 20, but if you count the Digimon that has been displayed, including the silhouette, there's only 18. So it is definitely not one of the Jogres Digimon. So what then is it? Now I just have to put up a very clear disclaimer here. Up until this point, everything is just official announcement. But after this point, this is based on deduction and some speculation, which will result in spoilers. So if you rather stick to the official news, just stop right here. But if you're interested to know what might be the hidden Digimon behind these hidden silhouettes, then you can continue watching. Alright, so my take here for the hidden silhouette Digimon is Chimeramon. Also known as Chimeramon if you prefer the English way to pronounce the name, but if you're sticking to the Japanese characters, then it should be Chimeramon. But either way, it is very likely Chimeramon, especially when you take this sample sprite from Digimon Pendulum Z, the black and white sprite, and you put it right next to the silhouette. You can see that it's almost a like-for-like match, and I'm very certain that it is Chimeramon. Here's a fun fact about Chimeramon being on version 3. Now Chimeramon is clearly a chimera of multiple Digimon parts. So, namely Kabuterimon's head, Metal Greymon's hair, Greymon's body, you have Devimon's upper claws, you have Angimon's wings, Iedramon's wings as well. The left arm is Skull Greymon and the right arm is Huagamon, and the legs are Garurumon and its tail is Monochromon. Weirdly, all these Digimon are from version 1, version 2 and version 4. None of them are in version 3, and somehow Chimeramon is on version 3. Like, come on, couldn't you have just put Chimeramon on any of these versions, like version 4 for example, since Monochromon is there? Okay, I'm almost towing the line of being pedantic, but seriously, like, why? Like, why? Please don't get me wrong, I'm still really excited to see Chimeramon on the Digimon Color version 3, but it just feels a little strange. It feels almost like they are deliberately putting the Digimon lines that might be related apart in the rosters. I don't know, that's just my feeling. Please feel free to leave your comments in the section below about how you feel about Chimeramon being the silhouette figure Digimon and how you feel about it not being in a roster of the Digimon that constitutes Chimeramon. I would really like to hear about what you feel about that. Moving on to Jogres. And yes, Jogres has been teased, also known as DNA Digivolution for those who are familiar with the English dub. But yes, Jogres has been teased with, of course, silhouettes once again. But before we look at the silhouettes, right before this, they actually showed an interesting footage of Bancho Leomon and Gankumon battling. And it looks like for a moment, Bancho Leomon is going to Jogres with Gankumon, but they then put up a disclaimer that those two can't digifuse, aka they can't Jogres. So come on Bandai, if you're going to demonstrate one, why don't you just demonstrate one that can, and then you don't have to put up a disclaimer. But maybe they just don't want to spoil anything, to spoil the fun, so they just want to put up a false red herring kind of pairing to throw you off and then put up a disclaimer. But anyway, another fun fact is that they actually put up this side note saying version 1, version 2, and then some Japanese words. If you're not familiar, basically it's just saying politely that yes, Jogres is available between 3, 4 and 5, But when you battle with version 1 and 2, you get a background unlock, which is pretty much what we already know for those who have been following the Digimon Color version series. So I think it's just Bandai's polite way of saying, sorry, version 3 and 4 and 5 might not be able to Jogres with version 1 and 2. It's just going to unlock background, and so they're telling you, you can unlock background, but you know, indirectly saying you can't Jogres with them. And I suppose we won't be expecting that they can, because if it can, the data miners would have found hidden Digimon that can Jogres and evolve from version 1 and 2 by now. A lot of people have been stripping the data parts apart for Color version 1 and version 2, and they would have discovered it within the code. Because the way Jogres works for Digimon Color is that when the two Digimon can Jogres, both Digimon will make that Jogres evolution together. So if version 3, 4 and 5 can Jogres with Digimon Color version 1, we would have seen that hidden evolution within the code for version 1 as well. So back to the Jogres predictions. I think the first and most obvious Jogres evolution here, and spoiler alert once again, it is definitely Chaosmon. 99% sure that Chaosmon is there because we have Bancholiomon in version 3 roster, and we have Darkdramon in version 4 roster, and in many of the game titles since 2005, Bancholiomon and Darkdramon do Jogres, aka DNA Digivolve, into Chaosmon. So definitely there. One more nail in this coffin is that when you put up the black and white sprite for Chaosmon, which was featured in Digimon Pendulum version 20th, the black and white sprite, you can put it right next to this silhouette. It's a like-for-like match. So I'm 99% certain that we have Chaosmon. It's an open and shut case here. From here onwards, it is more like speculation than prediction because the evidence is not so strong, but there are some indications that some might be more probable than others. So one of the predictions that many have put up is Rust Tyrannomon, because clearly Rust Tyrannomon has been featured in version 20th. Having said that, Rust Tyrannomon was a Jogres evolution between Machine Dramon and Aegis Dramon, and we have established that Aegis Dramon has been dropped from the roster, so it is unlikely that the evolution is Rust Tyrannomon. To top it off, if you look at Rust Tyrannomon's black and white sprite, it doesn't really match the two silhouette that's been put up there. Although we shouldn't be expecting an exact match all the time, so far it seems quite consistent that they actually put the black and white sprite in the exact same shape and they just add color depth to it in the color version. So we can expect that most likely the shape shouldn't change that much. So considering that the silhouettes don't match, it could be that it's not Rust Tyrannomon. The other contender is Chaos Dramon. So Chaos Dramon, in one of the titles, Digimon Next World Order, as a reference, in that game, Machine Dramon does Jogres with High Andromon to become Chaos Dramon. So if you look at that as a reference, it is a possible evolution pair, a Jogres evolution pair. And if you look at the sprite for Chaos Dramon on the Vital Bracelet, this is how it looks like. And there's also a colored sprite of Chaos Dramon from Digimon Next World Order. That is the closest we can get because Chaos Dramon have never really been featured on a 16x16 pixel device. So we don't have their black and white pixel, but that is the closest we can get. And the shape does look really similar to the silhouette on the right. So it could be a Chaos Dramon, just that they change up the sprite a little, because this is after all the sprite that was used in Digimon Next World Order, so they can change it a little. Yeah, so it could be. It could be. The other contender could also be Millenniummon, because once again, Digimon Next World Order, Machine Dramon does Jogres with Chimeramon, and we already know from the earlier, spoiler alert, roster prediction is that Chimeramon is likely to appear, and since it's there, Mugen Dramon or Machine Dramon could very well Jogres with Chimeramon to become Millenniummon. And also we don't have a 16x16 pixel of Millenniummon because Millenniummon has never really appeared on a brick device. But we do have a 16 by 16 pixel depiction or illustration in Digimon Re-Arise where Millenniummon did appear. And this is how it looks like, and it does look very similar to the silhouette on the left if they just change it a little. So it could also be Millenniummon here that we are looking at. It could be, it's just a guess. It's a guess, guys, that's what it is. But anyway, I've taken a deeper dive into the rest of the Mega Digimons revealed in the rosters, and I've looked for any Jogres pairings that they have appeared in game titles, and the only other ones that I've identified are just so unlikely. We have Gaiomon, aka Samudramon, forming a Jogres pair with Kuzuhamon, evolving into Omegamon Alter B, but it's just so unlikely, even though it is going to be really cool if we get to see Omegamon Alter B. The other pairing is Gankumon with Dukemon, forming Dukemon Crimson Mode, aka Gallanmon Crimson Mode. Also cool, but very unlikely because none of the rosters mention Gallanmon or Dukemon. So, in summary, we have Chaosmon with very high certainty that this is the correct Jogres that will be appearing here, but the other two is just a mystery. It could be, like I said, Chaos Dramon because it does look similar and the roster does match in terms of the Digimon that appear, as well as Millenniummon could also be one of them because, you know, the roster does match as well. Otherwise, it could just be one of those, and the other is just a surprise. It might be a new Digimon, or it could be a new Jogres pairing that we have never seen before. So that's it for the Jogres section. Moving on to color shells. So the shell colors for version 3 and 4 were also clarified. Basically, each of these versions will have one color. Side note, I find difficulty spelling color this way because I'm used to the British way of spelling color, C-O-L-O-U-R. So be it, we have to follow C-O-L-O-R. But yes, the version 3, 4 and 5 will come in single colors. For the benefit of those who don't know, the original Digital Monsters version 3 in the 1990s actually was released in two colors, purple as well as orange. So I just so happen to own the corresponding opposite color that isn't going to be released, the orange shell. Or to be precise, my orange shell is the special one with a slight translucent tint to it. So that's the version 3 that we will not see the light of day because instead of releasing two colors like version 1 and version 2 color, which had two color shells, version 3 will only have one color shell and they have chosen the purple one. Similarly, for version 4, when it was released in the 1990s, there were also two colors, one in translucent red and the other in translucent blue, and I just so happen to own the corresponding opposite color, the version, the one that is translucent blue, as you can see here on the right. So unfortunately for this release, we will only see the translucent red. We will not be able to see the translucent blue for the version color version 4. Last but not least, for version 5, the Japanese release only had translucent green in its initial release. Of course, there were other iterations of colors in the Asia release, but the original release only had translucent green, and that's what we have for the version color version 5 as well. So there's no opposite color to miss out on in that sense. While I used the word unfortunately quite a bit in the earlier segment, I do understand that this is not necessarily a bad piece of news for everyone, especially for those collectors who are looking to have a complete collection all the time. This is probably a piece of good news for you because you don't have to buy two of the same device just because they are released in different colors. So you probably don't have to bust your wallet to buy two of the same thing because of the different colored shells. So maybe it's a good thing for those people. But for me, I'm okay, I'm indifferent. I'm really just in it to raise Digimon as virtual pets, and I enjoy documenting them. And once again, if you haven't already, if you like such content, looking at people raising Digimon, raising virtual pets, and you've come to the right channel, please go ahead and incinerate the like and subscribe button with Chimeramon's Heat Viper and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my uploads. I have tons of content here regarding raising Digimon. I have tons that I've documented on Vital Bracelet. I have also those that I'm doing on the Digimon Color. You can check them out. It's just the playlists are right here. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and don't forget to pre-order these. These are available on Premium Bandai for a limited time window only, so please don't miss that out. For those who find that you are located in countries where you can't seem to access an order via Premium Bandai online, for those who are in Singapore, it is available on the Falcon Hanger already, and I've placed my order there. And this is not a sponsored video. I'm not sponsored by them to mention this, but it's a great place where I place my order in Singapore. But for those who are not in Singapore and overseas, like in the US or many of the other countries outside, you can actually check out Zenin TCG. Once again, this is not a sponsored video by Zenin TCG as well. It's just one of the sites where I have experienced quite good customer service when I do order from them time to time. And it's a good place if you're really struggling to find a place to order Digimon merchandise. That's a good starting point to get version 3, 4 and 5. So otherwise, I hope I've managed to help you in deciding whether to get these devices or not. More importantly, if you've come across other predictions or information about the hidden Digimon silhouettes, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. I will reply to all of them, and I'm really interested to know what are the other hidden Digimon. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!